Hi, welcome everyone, and a very good morning to you all. It's a good evening to wherever you're listening from. My name is Kalu Aja, and welcome to Money Spaces with me. This is recorded on the podcast as well. Welcome. Today we are talking about real estate, specifically investing in real estate in Lagos, Nigeria, or should we say Nigeria as a whole. On this space, we try to talk money, the economy, investing, and we always try to relate it to you, right? So, how does this topic relate to your personal budget? How can you take advantage of the opportunities that are out there in terms of real estate? So, as usual, what I like to do is just to give you like maybe a 10 minute or 5 minute intro. I've got the guys from AM Realty here with me. I want to use them as the technical partners in this space. So they're going to walk us through, number by number, brick by brick about this, how I can juice up my real estate holdings if I was going to get into it, right? But let me just start off by just giving, should we say, maybe the intro, why we're doing this and why I think this is important, right? So again, as I said, my name is Carlo Ajay, right? So I got an invite to invest in property in Lagos. This was in Lekki. Someone asked me to come buy a flat. This flat is located after the third roundabout in Lekki. So if you know Lekki, that's going to be like about 40 kilometers or so from law school, way out there, right? And to buy that property, it was being offered for about, say, 22 million. So 22 million to buy a 2-bedroom property. And the gentleman said, listen, if you buy it, you just rent it out, and your property values always go up. So you are beating inflation because every year the value of that house will beat inflation. And that's always what you hear, right? You always hear if you invest in this property, the value beats inflation. So is that enough for us to go by? I don't think so. Let me explain to you why. If I take 22 million and buy that property, what's going to be my annual return? The rent in that area, because I checked, the rent in that area is give or take for a 2-bed, it will be anywhere from say 500,000. It won't get to a million. So you're talking about maybe 500,000, maybe 900,000. I mean, depending on the amenities you provide, right? But let's even say it's a million. Right? So if you divide 1 million by 22 million, that's how you want to get your yield, right? Just do a division, 1 million by 22 million. What do you get, guys? You get about 4.5%. So if you invest 22 million, that's how you want to look at it. You want to look at it like you took 22 million naira and you put in the bank. If I take 22 million naira from my bank and I buy that property, right, this year, because of inflation, the value of that property will go up in price. True. So it will go up, let's say inflation is 10%. So every year the value of the property will go up. I get that, right? The problem is that the yield, what I will get back from that property, is going to be less than 5%. Less than 5%, guys. But the risk-free rate of return, when we talk about risk-free rate of return, we'll talk about if I took that money and I put it in the safest investment in Nigeria, that I was sure I was going to get my money back no matter what. What's that investment called? That's called anything to do with treasury. So when you hear treasury, you are investing in the federal government, either a treasury bill or a bond. The difference is just the tenure. So if I bought a treasury, let's say a treasury note for 1 year, for 365 days, right now, that note is going to pay me about 13%. So if I give my money to the federal government of Nigeria, they will give me 13% after 1 year. And that's what we call the risk-free rate in Nigeria. That means anybody that you want to invest money with in Nigeria, they have to give you above 13%. 13% is your hurdle rate. So if I bought that property, the asset price will go up, but my yield is going to be 5%. I still have to pay tenement rate. I still have to pay for if something breaks. I still have to manage that property. But if I invest in risk-free rate in return with the federal government, I get 13%. You see why this real estate thing is not really that, quote unquote. You have to really check the numbers out. because the yield on that property is not enough. The value could be $1 billion, but if I want 10,000 naira, I can't sell one room, right? Because I only have a house. I can't sell one room. What can I do with a property that's worth $1 billion if I can't get any equity from it? Equity means I can go to the bank and say, I want to take money from this property and I want to use it like a loan. It's difficult for me because I have to get C of O, I have to do the deed of assignment, all that kind of stuff. Lots of it costs me a lot. So I started to ask around, and I met the guys from EM Realty, right? And they say they have a way that we can juice this up, right? So it meaning that, listen, we could still invest in property, but I could get a better return. They do this stuff called long lease, short lease. I'm going to let them talk about it in detail, right? How I can get a better return. So my problem is I want to do real estate because of inflation, but I want to get a higher yield. And I think I'm going to ask this guy really the questions. Let's talk about numbers, and then let's see if we can get a better deal from them, guys. So, guys, if you guys can hear me, AM Realty, I've got Olumide. Let me see. You guys can unmute. I have got Olumide. Is that you? Hey, Oladayo. Sorry about that, bro. Yay. So Ola, hi. You heard my intro, right? You heard my intro. You heard my problem. I want to invest in a property in Lagos. The property cost me 22 million. If I do the rental yield on that property, that's about 4.5, or let's call it 5%. But risk-free rate in Nigeria is 13%. Let's not even talk about inflation. Let's just talk about the yield alone. If I put that money with the federal government risk-free, I get 13%. If I bought that house, I get 4%. What can I do? I mean, let's start with just introduce your company, yourself. Then let's just talk about the questions, if you may. Right, go for it, sir.
All right. I think first let me introduce myself. I'm Dayo Adenumi. I handle finance and growth for AM Realty. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Harvey, for inviting us. Firstly, I would like to, though I'm more of the finance person, so I will speak more on the investing value of this model. So, if my work using our official account at the MPT, we'll discuss more about how the real estate value of it itself and the location and things like that actually imbue value into this and use us and help us to accentuate the value of that property with this model. So, firstly, everybody should know this basically. Value any investment basically. Any investment is valued based on the cash flows that it produces. Whether you are buying a business that's listed on the stock market, or you are buying a small business in your area, or you are investing in real estate, or you are investing in an ETF, for example, or you are virtually any kind of asset, or you are investing in an asset that can produce something for you. Like, for example, someone who buys a MacBook and starts using it for graphic design. So that MacBook itself is an asset that produces income, and that income is the cash flows that you make from the service that you use that MacBook to create. So now I'll come to this model. So let's look at Lagos State, for example. There are different ways to actually invest in real estate in Lagos, right? You can either buy land or buy a ready-built property and probably rent it out, or you decide to live there yourself. So how exactly do you maximize the value of this? And so I and Maiwa, we've gone around because we've seen a lot of different real estate models and different houses. And one thing we see is that a lot of people don't actually factor in this yield that Kadu was talking about, like yield to maturity of this thing. What exactly am I getting if I put this money in this property? What exactly am I getting back? Sometimes we see a lot of houses in places like Yanopaja, places like Ibeju, Oshodi, Oshini, Surulere. You see most of these houses that have been built for many years back. Those houses are just there. They have been well maintained, and the rental value of that place is still there, but it's not as attractive as before. So what we did now is that how this thing works is that we meet some of the owners of those.
So just let me ask, what is this? Is this the long lease now, or is this the?
Yes.
So we're talking about how long lease works, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Owners of the property, right? I will tell them, okay, we can help you maximize the value of this real estate, but we'll lease it out for you at this price, right? For this period of time. And most of our models, for some years, we have over 15 to 20 years, right? So what we now do is now we do our research around that area and look for what exactly sells the most. So for this project that we are currently working on, our Crestfield apartments, our initial outlook for it was to rent it out, because the value of renting out is between 1.4 to 1.8 million for one bedroom apartment and two bedroom apartment between 2 and 2.5. So that was our initial estimate. The model that we initially modeled, right, for that apartment was to put it out at rent. But now, and my outlook on this, we built a long list of agents who, after they've come and seen the quality of the structure that we've put, told us that we actually decided that if it's possible, we short-let some of it and we rent some of it and see how we can average out value around that and maximize the income.
Okay.
But now we now decide we now valued it at, okay, if for example we are going to rent this place out. So the initial model we did is we valued it based on the amount of rent that we can get over those 15 years. So imagine you.
But let me ask you a question real quick before you go ahead, right? So the property is not owned by you guys. You approach someone and you get the property, sort of like a partnership from him. Is that it?
Actually, we are outrightly funding that property, but we are leasing it out first, right? They were now subleasing it out to investors. So when you buy it from us, you are getting a deal of sublease. So you are only subleasing that. So another advantage of this.
No, sorry, London. I want to just make sure I get it right. So,
yes.
When this long lease, right? Who owns the property? Like, if I want to do it myself, do I have to own the property, or I go meet someone that already owns property, and who owns the property in question now?
Yes. So you if for example now the apartment that you are buying from us, you own it for that period of time. Is a outlet. It's a right to own. Right?
Okay.
It's a right to.
So you guys own the property, but I'm sort of like leasing the property from you guys. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
So right now you are leasing it for that period, and you are going to get all the economic value of that property over that period. It's coming straight to you.
Okay.
Throughout the period. So that's how it is. So now, when Kalu first came to speak to us, that initial model was what we do. So Kalu translated it into something like getting a 17% bond, right? That was the initial when we looked at the value of that property. For example, renting it out at 1.4 million for that 15 years. When you get the yield to maturity of that, it's coming around 17.something% per year, right? And that's a very, very conservative estimate, because over the period of time, the quality of that building and the area itself, rent will spike. And it's Lagos. There are a lot of people moving into Lagos every day. There's not enough, let me say, space for everybody to live. There's not enough space for everybody to buy. There's not enough real estate for everybody to purchase. We have an housing deficit in Lagos. In Nigeria, Lagos is highest in Lagos because there's so many people and too little. So rent will spike in the next few years. And if you, as a person, come and even inspect that property yourself, and you see the quality of the materials, the quality of the positioning of the property itself and everything, you will see that we are actually taking we are putting in so much just to make sure you as investor get.
I got you. I want us to look at the core hard numbers, right? Because folks are listening in. Let's get the model, let's get the numbers, then that way folks can follow. So first of all, you guys own the building, so I am sort of going to participate in the rental yield of the building you own, right? Okay.
Now, when we have spoken to, we built a long list of agents, and they've come to tell us that now the value of, so after some time that we decided to short-let. So the short-let is like people, for example, who are traveling into Lagos, or people who have a conference to attend somewhere, or someone who has something to do in Lagos over a period of time. Or, for example, companies that have expats, right? Expats coming in from other countries who offers them services, and they want to like get a very, very comfortable place for them to be, right? Illupeju, for example, where that project is, has a lot of manufacturing companies around it, where a lot of expats actually work. So we now the estimate we now decided to like we value that this thing for as short let apartments in that place, right, per day is around 25,000, and that's what we initially set out to. But when we spoke to the agents, said the list you can see right from here, like the list that we agents have actually offered to most of the people who have bought from us, and they are rushing it, is 40,000 naira for this one bedroom, and for the two bedrooms around
40,000. Is that a point? Okay. So again, but I'm trying to just slow you down so that people can follow. Remember that you're trying to explain to people, right? So you get a day in that location is about 40 grand a day, right? So if I'm in, great. So link it to me now. So if I am now investing in this long lease, right? Who is going to get it? Does the 40 come to me? Is that what I'm going to get? So how does this work? I'm trying to figure out give me the model. Don't give me the model, the overall model, then we can break it down.
You are the owner of that benefit, you owe 40,000. So we now manage it on your behalf. So rather than you spending that extra cost, there are a lot of costs in owning a property that generates cash flow, because there are tenement rent, all those stuff. So and also you have to maintain the property and waste management, all of those associated costs. So we take on that for you. So you will now pay us a specific percentage of that, and we are just charging about 10% of that amount. So now, one thing that you have to take into is how exactly we want to make sure these apartments are filled to capacity throughout that period to make sure that you generate. So in our own model, right, what our conservative estimate was that we will ensure that that place is filled for 12 days in a month over the year. So on average, every month for 12 days, it is filled up.
Okay.
And from what we have already seen from on ground now, because we are already in talks with a lot of prop tech companies, and also we're already speaking to some of these manufacturing companies, and some of these companies that would actually get in spaces. So on what we have on ground now is that between this December period, January and February, those periods are peak period for short lets in Lagos.
Okay.
Like because what's on ground now is that 30 days for those 3 months are going to be filled up. So it means that if we've gotten 30 days for those 3 months filled up, we already have 12 days for 6 months straight.
Okay, look.
So that is the revenue guaranteed for 6 months at 12 days capacity.
Okay, hold on. So let me just reset, right? So we're talking about trying to juice up real estate returns in Lagos, and more or less, I'm hearing you talk about like an Airbnb model. This more like an Airbnb model, right?
Like that.
And then great, and then we're trying to do the numbers you're giving us is about. So the way it works is this, right? If I invest in this long lease, right? I don't own the property, but I'm getting the yield. So I don't have to go.
You own the property itself, right? So this is it. You are not owning the whole property. You are owning that specific apartment. Like what we have, for example, this building now has 12 units, so 2 bedroom and 1 bedroom apartment. So rather than buying, if for example you want to buy land in the place, rather than buying land in that area, for example, if you want to buy land in that which area is around 15-20 million naira before you can build on that. So the cost of that, this is actually reducing the barrier to entry on owning a property and benefiting from it in that area itself. So it creates this easy pathway for even people who can afford to put down, say 40, 50, 60 million naira at once to buy an
Gotcha.
To buy a whole land or a whole.
So I'm buying the flat.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm buying the flat. Okay, gotcha. But
yes, you're just buying the flat.
who maintains it? Who maintains it? Who maintains the?
So you maintain it from that revenue, but we do that.
Okay.
We take that detail. So we will just remit your own revenue for you. That's it. So we are even going to be giving out monthly and quarterly reports of how your investment performed over that period, and breakdown of your revenue, how much you make and how much we are putting out from. So we are putting out complete transparency on this. So that's the value. So imagine now at 25,000 naira per day for 12 days. Now calculate that for a whole year. I'm sorry, 25,000 naira per day for 12 days in a month, right? So 25,000 naira times 12, that's about close to 300 and something thousand. Now times 12 months, that's about 3.6 million naira in a year. Now multiply that over the 15 years, and you see that the amount that we're actually charging for that, you get back your investment in the first 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
So over the remaining 10 years of the 15-year lease, right, you are getting all of that is coming directly into your pocket. You are now getting a return on your investment. Right?
All right.
Your capital is generated back within the first 4 to 5 years.
So it's more like it's more like
invest with us now. We have that model already.
I got you.
Everything is based on conservative estimates, right?
Okay.
The worst case scenario.
So so it's more or less I'm investing, I'm getting that yield, but I don't participate in the running and the upkeep. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, because we do that of course you can do it yourself, right? But we feel like it is better for us to pick up that headache for you, because it is a lot, right? Dealing with regulators, dealing with waste companies, managing, making all that payments. It's a lot of time and effort. So we take that off you, right, for a token, just 10% of that, right? So that's what we do for you, and we ensure that we also take the pain of marketing the property, right? So out of that 10%, we are still taking out of it to market that property, and we have a lot of marketing channels that we are going to use to make sure that those apartments are filled to capacity over that period. So and I've told you some of it, that we are already speaking with some people, with companies and with listing PropTech companies that list all these properties, and or for some of them that even buy it outright for a certain period of time and at a certain price, and they will remit that to you. So we are giving you that opportunity to take off. We are taking off that headache of marketing the property, making sure it is filled to capacity.
And again, this is my property, right? So if I do this with you guys, I own this property. This is mine, but I get the high yield, but you guys maintain it for me and all that. So so this would work for me if I don't live in Nigeria, or if I don't live in Lagos and I was in Abuja, then this is something that is good for me.
Yes.
So so question for you, in Lagos, right? Is it everywhere that can get this yield? I mean, where is going to be the sweet spot? Should I go to Lekki, or should I go to say Mushin? I'm just being.
I think my office is more of the real estate experts.
Okay, let's get my way in.
I will tell you actually that this place is more of a centralized location. If you go to where the property itself is in a prime area of the location, and which is because we have a lot of commuting between the island and there. So it is exactly 15 minutes from the island. That's from Third Milan Bridge that used to link the island. It's also 20 minutes from Ikeja. So it is in a central location where the value that emanates from the island and the value that emanates from Ikeja being central, let me say, economic hub on the mainland.
Gotcha. What about taxes, property tax, tenement rate? Who pays that?
All of that is paid for it. As I said, it is already calculated between your. So we are the ones who are going to be responsible for remitting all of that on your behalf, right? So it is already calculated into that amount we are charging. Okay, so we are going to be doing that on your behalf, right? And we are going to be remitting it. Then the next income you generate from that is transferred onto you. Okay? So we don't disturb you with all of that, and we manage everything on behalf of it. So that's the way the whole model works.
Okay, so can we get my? Well, I want to talk more about in terms of general property, and I have a few guys I want to ask a question. And let me just see if you guys have a question. I've got Oluwaseyi, style 9277222H. Oluwaseyi, did you have a quick question for him?
Not at the moment, sir.
Thank you. All right, what about Shola? Shola, you good? So, Olabode, can we get Muyiwa? I wanted to ask Muyiwa a few questions about just Lagos real estate, where I can do this, because apart from doing it with you guys, how just to also understand this whole the Lagos yield model for real estate. So, if anyone is Muyiwa there? Can I speak to him then? Hey, Muyiwa. Got you. So, hey, Muyiwa, hi, how you doing? I can hear you very well. Muyiwa, I can hear you perfect. Go ahead.
I just did so much to confirm that I'm being heard.
Yes, you are. I don't think Muyiwa might have.
Hello?
I think he has an issue. Muyiwa, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, he has problem. But maybe you can. He has an issue with his mic, I think. Yeah. So, Oladayo, let's talk more about this yield, right? Give me the hard numbers you spoke. I don't want you to guarantee anything.
Hello, Dayo, can you hear me? Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, Mayowa.
All right. I think I had a little problem with my network, but I think
you are very audible. Everybody's hearing you.
All right, so thank you very much, Kalu, for having myself and Oladayo here. My name is Atibolu Mayowa, and I'm the MD CEO of AM Realty Limited. And just to build more points on what Oladayo has said, I'll talk more about the market. I mean, the demand, the location, and our previous projects, and how we feel like Creswell Apartments till date will be one of our best asset producing projects in the next 15 years. So before this particular project, we partnered with another developer to deliver this kind of project, although we did not explore the shop-let market. It was only or majorly built for rental. So we developed one in Surulere and the other at Yaba. And what we're able to observe from those properties was, number one, we figured out that there was a lot of demand for rental accommodation, right? And a lot of people want properties with very good service, 24 hours of electricity, security and whatnot. So we're able to maximize that market by building this similar model, although targeting the rental market. And what's the difference between building the property to target the rental market and building the property to target the shopping market? It's one, you look at the size of the rooms. Two, the number of rooms and apartments in that building. So before this particular project, we had like 2022, average of 2022 apartments per project, right? So I got a call from a client one day, and we wanted to.
You dropped a Mayowa.
This somewhere for 3 months, and when I calculated, when I calculated how much he would be paying for 3 months, I mean it's almost how much we would be getting for the entire year of that property. So I told Oladayo and said, we really need to build a property specifically modeled for, short-let apartments. We could be flexible with daily rental, monthly rental, or even sublease it to some prop-tech companies that I want to take up the entire project and maybe list it on their platforms, or even make it a monthly service apartment, and even make 2-3 times more than what we have been making on our other project that we delivered. And that's the more reason why we decided to come up with this Crestview apartment. And yes, location is actually very, very key, because whether you build a tastefully built property in the Ikorodu, or you build it in Lekki or in the Lupeju, everything boils around the demand for that particular area and how much people are willing to pay for it. Lupeju is quite central, just like Oladayo said. To the left of our property, you're driving to the left, you're busting out at Ikorodu Road, you're going back to Ikeja. To the right, you're linking Bagada with Trike to Third Mainland Bridge. So wherever you work in Lagos, you wouldn't see Lupeju as a bad option to residing.
Yeah, Mayowa.
To just stay there for like 2-3 days, or you want to stay there for an entire month, or even stay there for like 3 months if you work in one of the manufacturing companies in the region. So all of those integrities, the location, the demand, is something that we really paid attention to before deciding to do Crestview at
Mayowa. Can you hear me?
And yes, for the rental value that Oladayo mentioned, 25,000 averagely for the 1 bed, and about 50,000 for a 2 bed. As we speak, I feel it's still a little bit on the price. Looking at the quality of finishing that we want to do, we could maybe share. You can send the DM so that you can see the level of development right now. We are really developing that project to compete with whichever short-let apartments you will see on the mainland. And you'd agree with me that the market for short-let is tilting to the island, not because we don't have demand for short-let on the mainland, but because there are really not a lot of properties that will compete with these island properties on the mainland. And that's something that we try to solve with pressure.
Hey, Mayowa, can you hear me?
So,
Mayowa, can you hear me?
Pay attention to the finishing, and also, most importantly, the structure. Lastly, I'm talking about how I feel like AM Realty is a perfect real estate firm to strategically invest to maximize your capital. I would address that.
Hey guys, I think you dropped off. Let me see. Hey, Oladayo, are you still here?
Yes, Carlo, I'm still
Great. I think he couldn't hear me. I think he dropped off. I'm just going to add him back. I'm trying to get more of the model. I want us to talk more about the macro side, the modeling, the locations, the numbers, right? People are listening, and I want people to get a sense of how this would work for them. If they're not going to go through even AM Realty, if they don't do this on their own, right? Is Lekki a good place? Can this work in Kaduna? Can this work in Jos? That's really what I want us to, if we could touch on that, that would really help a lot of people. There are going to be a lot of questions that are going to come. You guys are going to have the chance to, people are going to ask you questions, but I want to just maybe talk to people that are listening. How does this work? How do I model this out? If I have 50 million naira, is this a better deal for me to go buy property and rent it out and make rental income? Or do I just build it with the intent that I'm going to do short let? Right? That's really what I want us to. If we can talk on the nitty-gritty, most people here just have the money and are worried about inflation. It's 20%. We're looking at where we can drop our money. So if you guys could speak to that, I would love it.
All right. I'll do that right now. So I think someone wants to ask a question, if possible.
That is, okay. I am Oluwa. Oluwa, do you want to say something real quick?
No, I am Sakalu. Good evening. I wanted him to finish before asking my question, so I would wait on him to finish.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so pertaining to what Carl is saying now, before you make, I'll first talk about, before you make a decision to actually invest in property, you look at the factors that determine the value of that property now. So if before you say you want to put out a building out for rent or for short lets, you look at one, is there an economy around that place, right? So what exactly is that? Look at when you are going through Uzumba Mbadiwe Road, for example, down through Lekki Ekpe and all of that, you see the kind of businesses that are around those places, right? You see the kind of shops, malls, you see all those things. Now, go down to somewhere like, let's say down to around, how will I put it, Isheri, all those sites. Now, look at the kind of businesses or the kind of, so now if you look at a place where there are bigger, larger, businesses, medium-sized to large businesses, compared to where there are small and medium businesses, you can start thinking of, okay, there are people that will be working here, right? There are people, there's a kind of salary that they are going to pay these kinds of people, right? There's a kind of, let me say, an expectation of standard of living that those people want for themselves. So you can't take that kind of money to go and buy a property in say down closer to Ogun State, for example. I can't remember the name of that place. It's closer to Ogun State, it's around Lagos, Badon. So you can't take out to go and buy in those places and say you want to shortlet, right? You won't really sell it. Of course, even if you invest so much in furnishing that place and putting all that, you won't see people because one, it's not close to where the real economic entities that produce that surplus value that had those, millions and billions of dollars to the economy of Lagos. You need to situate a property that's closer to those places so you can actually. So this shortlet, right? It works in the urban, like the core urban areas in Lagos, and Ilupeju is one of them. Lekki is also one. If you go to Lekki, for example, there are a lot of shortlet apartments, Airbnbs around the Lekki area because it will be easier for you to take out, say, 50, 75,000 naira and stay in a place for like 2-3 days, rather than taking, 5 million and renting that same place for a whole year. You understand? That's the reason why those places have that high demand for shortlets, because people want to, have the feel of, experiencing that for some time. So someone who lives in, say, Ekpe, for example, want to like enjoy time with his family during their vacation, or when he or she is on leave, they take them to somewhere around Lekki or take them to somewhere around those areas, those high-blue areas, right?
Okay.
And pay for that kind of place for a whole weekend, right?
Okay, so Ladaya, it's more or less you are saying like in Lagos now, this shortlist is mostly for the quote unquote higher income. What on Lekki here? Okay.
Urban areas where those companies are, right? Where these listed companies are, the Dangotes, the MTNs, where they are, their employees. Some of their employees also, rather than staying very, very, very close to the, for example, the very financially savvy ones, rather than staying very, very close to, some of them will stay around Surulere, Bagada, Ilupeju, where else? Even Pangrove, Nipan, or the other side, what the other Bagada,
Bagada, Ilupeju, yeah.
Yes, so those areas, right? So rather than renting a place in Lekki or something, there are people who work in those places who can afford it, but would rather stay in those other like closer areas of the mainland that have that close proximity to the island. Okay. So that's the reason why these places, those Yaba, Surulere, Ilupeju, Bagada, those places derive that value from the island. So that's the reason why shortlet is also valued high in those places, apart from even Lekki alone. So that's the reason why we so you of course, if you have your money, I don't know, I would still have to like do some research on that. I don't know how much they are selling, but of course, if you want to buy a building at that, or buy a land, I don't know if there is still land around Lekki for you, except you want to buy a place and demolish.
So what I'm hearing is that if I'm going to do this shortlet, right, it has to be in highbrow, quote unquote. If it's in Abuja, it will be
Definitely.
It's not just any. So that means I can't do this anywhere. I can't do this in Ojota.
You can't do it. So the only place you can do, if you want to do in those other places, for example, let's say the Ikorodus, the Petus, what else? The the Ikorodu, K2, those areas, right? What you can do in those places, either building or something like that and renting it out at value of those places. It will be very difficult to sell a shortlet, because a shortlet, one thing people who take shortlets want to get is 24 hours electricity, right? They also want to have access to things like dry cleaning services, because people who want to pay that high amount want absolute comfort. So these are the things that we have already factored into what we are. So now I want to make a very thing to note here on the properties that we have now. We have an economic incentive to actually manage those properties effectively, because rather we are selling those units to people right now. We are leasing it out to them, right, for that period. We are not actually making any money on that leasing. Where we will actually make money is managing it for you, and that's the reason why, because we have done our own research, right? We have information that you don't have as an investor, right? We know how to maximize the value of that property. We know what people who are getting shortlets want to have. So that's the reason why we want to manage it on their behalf, right? Rather than just, if you want it, of course, if you want to. But, if, for example, you go into a building and you see that some units are not having as much quality as the other units, there's a kind of, that those places will, of course, will not get the kind of demand that those other units are getting. So that's the reason why we want to take it on behalf of all our investors to actually manage it for all of them, so we can, maintain the same quality around all the units of the.
So my last question really is this: what's the size of the property? Am I doing 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom? What's the sweet spot? Is it 1, 2, or 3-bedroom? Which one works best?
For Crestville apartments now, there are 8 units of 1-bedroom apartments and 4 units of 2-bedroom apartments. So they are very. I'm not too. I will have to look into the books to know the real estate aspect of it. I'm just the land itself is I would have to confirm those numbers, but let me come in there.
Yeah, why are you jumping here?
Hello,
yes.
Yes, so we have 8 units of 1 bed and 4 units of 2 beds. And it's on the 4th story. That's ground, 1st floor, 2nd floor, and 3rd floor. On the ground and 1st floor, we divided it into 2 wings because, like I said, it was specifically built for short-let. So, to get entrance into the 1st wing, you go in through staircase area A. To go into the other wing, you go through staircase area B. So technically, you're going through a staircase area, you can only access 2 units per floor, right? So it also gives that sense of privacy as well, because just like Dayo said, it talks so much about giving this to people that maybe walk around and they want to stay somewhere. We're also forgetting the fact that a lot of people just want to even lodge. I mean, they also see short-let as an alternative to going to an hotel. I mean, I can tell you that 5 out of 10 millennials now would prefer to stay in a short-let apartment, that does not have an hotel-like feeling. It feels more like home for them. So even aside the fact that we are targeting the working class and we are also using that as a model for occupancy, let's not forget that someone can just walk past the building and ask around that, is this a short-let apartment? How much is it? And decide to stay there for 3-4 days. So, I mean, it also substitutes hotel for those that don't want to go to an hotel as well. So that was the reason why we paid attention to the design and the structure, which would allow just a staircase area accessing 2 units. So for the size of the apartment, the 1 bed, it's around 19 square meters. The 2 bed has a store also. Every unit has its own private terrace, a living room, the toilet, of course, the kitchen, and the room. That's for the 1 bed. Then the 2 bed has visitor's toilet, a very spacious living room, very spacious kitchen. It has a store also, and also a backward exit. And this property comes fully finished. So, like Oladayo said, we would want a sample interior finishing, and we want an interior finishing for every unit. So we don't want a client that comes and say, he doesn't like how this particular unit is finished. So what we do is the property comes fully finished, so we are not furnishing it, but we already have a design template for how we want the property to be furnished. So we just share the design template to the investors, although we are almost sold out. So when we're sold out, we'll share the design template to all the investors. Then if they have 1 or 2 little tweaks, they can do that while we help them furnish it. So it comes fully finished with water heater, POP, of course, POP fittings. We have DSTV dishes in all the apartments. We have fitted wardrobes in the rooms, and all the plumbing fittings, kitchen cabinets, tiles, doors, windows, everything, aside the furniture and your electronics. So everything would have been finished. It's just for the investors to follow the design template, purchase the furnitures and the appliances that we have put in the template for the interior finishing. Then we now help them manage on their behalf. That way, investors or occupants or tenants or clients that will be paying for the apartment will not have preferences for this particular unit because it looks finer than the other. So I don't know if that answers.
I got you. So can you guys, so just quick question, just before we hand over to the guys I want to call in. So if I had invested in the one you already have, not this new one, the project you guys already had, like a short or long lease, what was the yield per annum for the one you already have? Do you have that number?
Oh yeah, sure. So the one we did at Sohere, we sold the one bed at 8 million, and the rental was 1.2 per annum for 20 years. And like I said, that was built for rental. But this particular one was for short rental. So if you do the numbers, that would be 1.2 by 1.2 by 8. Correct? Yeah, 1.2 by 8. So that's around like 15%.
Okay, and that's for the rental, the core rental.
Yeah, that's the rental. I know the rental is not fixed.
Okay.
So we're looking at price increments like every 3 years.
But this new one is going to be the long lease one, and the long lease one, you're looking at how much? You're looking at what percentage rent yield is that guy?
So if for example the one bedroom units at 25,000 naira for 12 days occupancy, right? For per month, 12 days full occupancy per month, times 12 years, times 12 months for a whole for the
how many days occupancy? Sorry,
31%.
Sorry. How many days occupancy in a month? Sorry, say that again, please.
12 days in a month.
Oh.
On average, we average it out for a whole year.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, 365. So 12 days in a month for a whole year.
And that gives me.
Once you do that over the 15-year period.
Yeah.
Or 25,000 naira per day, right? Mm-hmm. So once you do that for the whole 12, that amounts to around 29 to 31%. That's the yield to maturity for that. So for over those 15 years, you are making about between 29 and 31% yearly.
You are projected to
years,
make.
Right? You make back your capital. The remaining 10 years, right? You just enjoy the economic benefits.
Okay.
Let me say something before I continue. So the result of the analysis that I gave, like you said, is on the conservative approach, right? I'm more of the real estate guy that does the marketing and whatnot, and I feel like it's better to underpromise, have clients have this expectation, and at the end of the day, we now get even double what they think. Because personally for us, because we are marketing, if they come today and say, oh, we can even get our apartment booked 30 days in a month, because 30 days, we have 30 days in a month. So, I mean, there's a possibility that you get your apartment even booked 25 days in a month. So if you use that number at 25 days, I mean, you'll be getting almost double the returns that Dayo just said now. And just like he said, we are not really making money off selling this lease. We're making money off managing it for investors that we are subleasing to, right? So we are motivated as investors because the more money we make for them, the more money we make off management. And the 12 days, like I said, is on a conservative approach. So if I want to be realistic now, we strategically planned Crestview because we know that we'll be delivering. We started building around January, February. So we knew that we'll be delivering by December because we're like 90% completed. So the plan was the first 2-3 months, let's achieve about 25 to 30 days. Because a lot of people come down to Nigeria to see their family from the Keja airport, and we have just 12 apartments there. I can tell you for a fact that it wouldn't be that difficult to get the apartment fully booked, for December and maybe first 2-3 weeks of January.
Gotcha.
When that peak period ends, I mean, we have another peak period coming our way, which is the forthcoming elections. We have a lot of politicians or women that would likely want to stay around hotels or neighboring around their LCDs, right? So we would also have people coming in there. I mean, that's another February, March peak period. When that ends, we would have enough reviews from people that have been staying there, because 25,000 and 12 days occupancy that we're targeting was a conservative approach. So we're looking at, okay, worst case scenario, if no one knows about Crestview, can we get this place built 12 days? Even if an hotel is built, they also really do advertisement. On average, if an hotel is built in that particular place without advertising, it will get 12 days in a month, without advertising. Like people just passing and referring other people that, there's an hotel here. Not to even talk of a fully serviced apartment that not just works for an hotel replacement, but also for expatriates that would likely want to stay there 2-3 days.
Maiwa,
the numbers are very encouraging.
Maiwa, a question for you as well.
So I should answer that. So I was looking at the model again a few days ago, and I told Maiwa that I think we should keep one of these apartments on our books. Even though we are going to run at a loss on the whole sale, right? We will be able to benefit from those the exact revenue that's coming into these apartments on a daily basis for the shortlets. So we have one of those. So we'll be able to like fully maximize our own. That's what we are still deliberating on that, right? But it is very possible that we will keep one of it to ourselves, because we are looking at the agents that we have spoken to and what they've told us. We have gone back and looked at it. I think it will be economically optimal to actually keep one of those apartments on our books.
Let me ask a question.
So
let me ask a question. Sorry about that, guys. So if I had a building or I had a land and I wanted to hand it over to you guys and say, hey, I have something in Lekki, or I have maybe a 5-bedroom duplex in Lekki, not even a flat, maybe a luxury 7-bedroom house. Can you guys turn this to what you're saying? Can you turn my house to short lease? Is it possible?
I think Maiwa would be best to answer that.
Yeah. So what we do is we do a little viability and our own due diligence. Go to the location, how accessible is that property to the major expressway. These are the things that really drive the shortlet, and also what we have around that particular vicinity. So when we do all that, I mean, it's very possible. All we just need is the info and the location. We go check it out, and within 5 to 7 days, we send the proper reports on how we can maximize that. So
all right, guys. Great. I think we've had enough. Let's see if we can get folks that want to speak. I've got a lot of folks here that are. So if you want to speak, just give me a hand check, and I'll just call you on to speak. Yeah, go for it, Eri Olua.
Good evening, Sakalu. Thank you so much for your powerful space, and I must commend the guys that came around with their company. Their vulnerability and sincerity is obvious in their presentation, and the product, them being sincere enough to speak about the 10% like that without hiding it up front, it's commendable. And I just want to ask a question from them that, how much is the payment? When is the apartment really going to be ready? And is there a clause in the agreement that if it is less than 12 days or 10 days or whatever, you guys will cover up, or you wouldn't? So how is that area gonna be? That would be my first question. Then my second question will be that, okay, after all said and done in the 15-12, how would I know as your client that, okay, this month it's 30? How is the accountability? Thank you.
Great question. You guys want to take it up?
Hello?
Who wants to take it up? Who's going to take it off?
Okay, let me take it off. So we intend to deliver by December, to be precise, first week of December. What is left for us to do is the tiling and wrapping up the concrete stamping for the landscaping and whatnot. So in the contract, we are going to state it there clearly that if we don't deliver by that period, I mean the date that was promised in the contract, we'll be paying you the rent accrued for that period. I mean, if it's a month or per day. And for the 10-12 days that you mentioned, that if we get below 12 days, will there be any?
Go ahead.
So I would answer this question by saying, what if it gets you 30 days? What are you going to do? Just like Oladayo said, put a 12 days average to return. Why? Because we fully know that we'll have some days where we have 30 days, 25 days. And we would not say, oh, because we already promised 12 days, take your 12 days and we keep the remaining 13 days. No. Right? So we intensify. There are a lot of marketing platforms that we use to market our properties. I mean, just like you said, we're using Instagram ads, we're running Instagram ads almost every day, not every day. We have several agents. Sometimes agents alone are enough to fill in the apartment, but we have other platforms as well. We also have flexible options to put it up for like monthly service apartments, or even give a PropTech firm that wants to list it. Some of the PropTech firms are offering to, pay us something a little bit lower than our expectation, but pay up for 30 days. So take for example, the one bed is going for 25k. They can decide to pay 15 or 18,000, but they pay it for 30 days. Why they now list it on the whole platform for maybe 30k? Because they feel like they can make money off it. So there are different ways you can optimize your return. But you saying that after you must have delivered the property to you, if you don't do 12 days, would there be any implication? I think it would be a little bit unfair to include that in the contract, because we are working towards delivering 25 to 30 days. I mean, making your apartment fully booked. That way we'll be able to even make more money for ourselves off management as well. So the days where we get your apartment fully booked, like say 30 days, it means that we have been able to satisfy the clause of 12 days for 3 days. So the management also has its own ups and downs. There are times when you get fully booked, there's times when you get 12 days, there are times when you get 13 days, there are times when you get 9 days. But an average annually, we can be rest assured that your returns on a general annual basis would not be less than the 12 days average occupancy income.
Okay, and well, let me just, since you're on the topic, I have a guy on Twitter, King David the First, is asking what services are available to the occupants, and do you guarantee this 12 days? Is it a guarantee, or is like you're just making an assumption? So these are his two questions from King David the First.
Okay, yeah. So for the services, the one bed, aside the outright payment for owning it for 15 years. In the Excel spreadsheet where all the analysis and returns were clearly stated, we already added the cost of furnishing, right? So what we intend to do is, aside the furnishing, every unit will have its own inverter. I mean, of course, this would be on the client's, the cost implication will be on the client, right? So the entire furnishing outside buying the property would be around, like, say, between 2 to 2.5 million. And between this 2 to 2.5 million would cover not just the interior furnishing, but also getting an inverter that powers all the lighting points, and also getting a standby generator. Because if everyone contributes that money, I mean, of course, there'll be accountability. So we'll be sending you a list of items. I mean, the cost of the furniture, the cost of the TV. You can also do your own findings to confirm these prices as well. Then when we're done, they install your inverter. This is the cost of the inverter. Then we go to gen. This is the cost of the gen. So at the end of the day, the client will be the one to provide what we need to help them manage the property. So aside buying the property is already fully finished. So they just provide the funds to make it fully furnished. Then we help them. So we provided that funds. It means that 24 hours electricity is already guaranteed. We are already guaranteeing 24 hours security. The other recurring expenditure will most likely be incurring will be the utilities that their occupants are consuming. Maybe they're providing internet. Every unit will have its own prepaid meter, so maybe they're consuming utility power, the security and waste management. All of this will be clearly stated in the contract that will be sharing with the clients. For all of the terms are clearly stated there.
Gotcha. So, the second question again is it 12 days a guarantee, or is it like an assumption? Just to make sure we got that clear.
Okay. Before let me get that.
So, sorry, let me answer that. So, in accounting, there's something called conservative. There's a conservative accounting principle, right? Like, what is the list? What is the exact rather than state something on your, rather than state the let me say an appraised value of something on your balance sheet, right? You are saying the exact value. So if something is worth 1 million today, and next day is worth 2 million, even on your own listing, you are still valuing that at that exact 1 million, right? Then also you are going to state, if, for example, you are projecting or you are forecasting profits on an asset, right? The profit that is going to make, you are going to make from the income that the asset is going to generate. You are going to state a worst case, like the list, like a conservative estimate is what you are going to state. So that's the reason why we are specifically saying, right, that this is a conservative estimate. In the question area now, I just saw, I think this guy is probably an agent. He says, don't get your things mixed up. There's a 2-bedroom shortlet in Ojo 2-bedroom for 70,000 naira. So imagine 70,000 naira per day in Ojo 2-bedroom. Now imagine Ilupeju, right? Okay. Imagine Ilupeju, compare that to. So that's just what I want us to get.
Okay, so I think he's listening.
Completely conservative.
All right, super. Thanks, guys. So if you want to ask a question, I've got your speakers. One who wants to add. So speaker, just add Kule Phillips. I can hear you.
Yeah. So, I would just ask. I've been listening for some time. Before I ask my question, kudos to AM Realty. Like what you guys are doing is nice. And I would just ask, like, who in case of like an unforeseen circumstance, maybe like maybe theft, damages, or maybe a pandemic, something like what happened 2020. Like what happens? Like, do you guys have any plans for that? Like, where you know that, okay, you won't be able to get up to 12, like, visitors per month. Like, what happens then? Like, something, like something I just mentioned. Like,
so
you guys have any plans for that?
Anti-fragility of our.
I mean, he's asking what are your risk factors? I mean, are there acts of God in there? Is there a risk that the business will not perform? Who bears it? I think maybe you can speak on that. Yeah.
Yes. So I will speak on the theft aspect because that's like more of a security thing. I think we have a contract with a security firm to secure not just the building itself but the surrounding area.
Gotcha.
So that's that. Maya will explain.
Maybe they're very funny, like
of course. So let's speak to
that. It might be tenants that would steal some things themselves.
Let me speak to
that.
Yeah, let me speak to that effect. So of course, let me speak to that effect. The other one that you talked about. Sure. So this demand, this data we got itself, right, was that in 2020 in Nigeria during the peak of COVID, right, there was a very, very, very high demand. It was that period during COVID that the demand for shortlet spiked. Why? Because a lot of people, for example, who were in that were stuck in Nigeria, or for example, that we are meant to actually go up, or people who are working remotely, a lot of remote workers, right? Tech workers, let me say tech design, all of those kind of people, right? They were looking for highly, and the value of most of these rental apartments does not speak to the quality of the buildings themselves. So they were looking for things that could actually match their taste and their income. So even if COVID or a pandemic happens, that's like the worst case scenario, right? A pandemic happens that nobody can move. Yes. There will still be economic going on, right? So that's the reason. So that period, shortlet itself spiked in Lagos. There was a 263% increase over that period in shortlets from 2019. So I think Maiwa will be able to expand more on that priority aspect of it. So that's thank you.
Okay. So before we started developing properties, we were agents for 3 years, and being an agent, you have this direct access to clients. Getting someone to pay 25,000 naira to stay in an apartment now is as easy as telling your friend to post on his WhatsApp status. and somebody gets it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It dropped off.
Okay, so we decided to do 12 apartments. With that 12 apartments, at least we know for a fact that based on my experience as an agent and the quality of what we want to do, I mean, in addition to the location, 12 days is very conservative. Just like someone said in that comment session, that 45,000 for a 2-bed and 25,000 for a 1-bed is still very underpriced. I've heard that like 3, 4, 5 times. I've heard that like 3, 4, 5 times. And because of that, I still did not act on that to increase the return to 40,000 for 1-bed and 70,000 for 2-bed. Why? Because we are very conservative, and sometimes I would prefer to under-promise, based on our experience in the real estate space. We know there are times when we would have scenarios where people might even come out for like 5, 6, 7, sometimes a month. But when you've gotten 3, 4, 5, 6 months at 80% bookings, times like that, when we send an email, even you yourself as an investor, you would understand that this is a period that might happen in like once in a year, or even once in 5 years. If we have to be very honest, looking at how it has been happening. When last time we had like a major pandemic when we all had to stay in our houses. After the 2020 pandemic, I'm not sure we have had any of that. So if we're using just that 1 in 2 years occurrence to judge or to assess rather an investment, especially real estate, that's one of like the safest. I feel like we have so many pros to the cons on our model and also on our location. And for the security, maybe when you come for the inspection, you would see better. So what we want to do is the property is very close to the street gate, and the street has a gate, right? So it's like 1 minute walkable distance to the street. And we know how you know how secure the Lupetri is. On the day of our launch, we'll have some security agents that will also come and speak, because we plan to do like an open house ceremony. We're handing over all the units to the investor before we eventually launch. So everyone would witness the atmosphere by themselves. That okay, we have security agencies that will be patrolling, this our property amongst others around the Lupetri. Not just that, we're going to have a security gatehouse and a security guy at the entrance of the gate for anyone that wants to drive in. And also 1 minute walkable distance to the property, would have another security from Crestville Apartments staying at that entrance of the street. So anyone coming in to Adventure, they don't have where to park. That entire street from the gate to the property will be colonized, because in that entire community there are like 2, 3 old houses, and they don't even have like cars going in. It's more like a close. So we'll be speaking to the communities that we are providing extra security to this particular street, and that way sometimes we need to park if we don't have enough parking spaces, because we have like 6 to 7 parking spaces in the entire building. But right outside the property, we can still have like 6 cars parked, and that's the more reason why we installed a CCTV camera just at the security post. So anyone coming in and wants to ensure that this property, maybe his car is well secured, as they're entering into the premises, would connect their CCTV to their gadget phone, whether they're using an Android or an iPhone, so they can see what's happening outside the premises. Through the security cameras that we already have. Because when you come, you'll see the security cameras. They're already installed as we speak. We have not just put in the cameras, but you can see the positions of the circuits of the CCTV cameras. So, because at the end of the day, whatever worries that you're going to have, I feel like we even have more than it, because the more money you make, the more cash flow for us as well. So it's more like a win-win for the investor and also with the developers that will be managing the properties.
Okay, let them just ask, like your clients, like now, if someone books one of your short-let apartments, is those clients, are they going to be paying for like caution fee? I just want to know, like, because like most short-let apartments now, if you book, you pay.
Sorry, I think
your deposits. Your clients, will they be paying for caution fee?
When they put deposit, yes. Caution fee, yes, of course.
Or
of course.
Okay.
And the only time that the fund they're going to be booking online, right? So they're going to be booking online. So when they book online and they make their payments, they also make the caution fee and with the payment. So we take 24 hours before we refund the deposit. We don't refund it immediately. So for that 24 hours, sometimes they can steal something that would not tell in 3-4 hours, So we'd have to wait, confirm all the gadgets, everything, confirm everything is working perfectly before we now refund the deposit. And that's the more reason why for anyone that books, we have their data. So they don't just walk in into the property. They would have filled the form. They would have their email, their phone number. Okay. So if our venture would need to reach out to them, if there's a need to, we'll do that. So
that's wonderful, Muyiwa. Thanks for clarifying that, because my friend Anwole Chukwu on Twitter is asking who is liable for theft or property damages. You want to answer that real quick? Because Anwole is still owing me a goat. So just if you want to answer that real quick.
Okay, so the only for property theft, these are some of the risks that that would be
like if they steal my TV in my own flat that you can. Who's going to pay? Yeah,
they can't. They'll possibly not at least fly to the fence, but yeah, there's a possibility that happens.
Uh-huh.
And I've not. In my because I currently manage some short-term apartments, although we did develop it for clients, and that's like the extreme. That's like the extreme case. I'm not.
What if they just damage it? What if they damage it?
Something blew up. Maybe the microwave blew up. Maybe high current or what something. Or someone detaching a TV that has been installed to steal it. I mean, I feel like if we have provided security and that happens, we would be liable for that. Because that was done under our own management. So something as
what if the water heater blows up? Who is responsible? Will I pay? Is there homeowners insurance? What about that?
So if the microwave blows up, for example, okay, let me give an example of what we plan to do. So for the power, like I said, it's going to be more of an hybrid power system. So an inverter, a generator, and also utility power. So there are times when we have utility power from Ikeja Electric or Eco Distribution. It's too high. What we want to do is we're going to install some I don't know if you know this particular socket that we plug directly to the circuit. So all of our gadgets, like maybe a freezer, TV, or say a microwave, would not be plugged directly to the 13 amps.
Okay.
So we're going to have I've forgotten that equipment. That's what we use.
Okay.
So before anything blows up, that's the thing that will blow up immediately. So we're already making arrangements to ensure that things like that don't happen. I mean, these are the things that can be mitigated.
Excellent.
So every possible thing that can be mitigated, we will be handling it from our end.
Okay, that works. Obasi, I don't know if you want to ask a question. Steve Obasi. Okay, so
yeah, they already asked the question I want to ask. I wanted to ask about if there is a issue of a major damage.
Okay.
Who takes responsibility?
Gotcha. I think he answered that. Yeah, he answered that. So, and also, guys, I sent you a DM. If you look at your DM, someone just sent me a DM to send to you guys. So I've sent you a DM from a fellow developer. He wants to talk to you guys. So if you look at your DM, it will be there. Just making sure you guys see it. All right, guys. So, we'll be here about an hour. And let me just reset the room. We started off by talking about investing in real estate, right? And I was making the point that I was given a property to buy in Lekki for about 22 million. Rental there was about 500,000 for a 2-bedroom. Even if I make it $1 million, that's less than a 5% yield on that investment, right? But if I took $1 million and I gave it to the federal government, which is going to be the risk-free rate of investing in Nigeria, I make 13% as at today. So it doesn't make any sense in terms of yield only, right, for me to invest in property, because the property value goes up, but I don't make any yield that even beats risk, right? I'm taking the risk, but I don't do that. So that's why I was interested in this long and short leasing option. I spoke to AMLT outside Twitter, and I said to just bring them to Twitter just to talk about what they do and how they do it. They've talked about what their model. They get the building. I buy a flat or I buy ownership in a flat in the building, and I'm able to then earn the yield from that flat, but they do the management. So if I was abroad, or if I lived in Abuja, or if I lived in Ikeja, I could do this in Lekki with them, right? And to get that yield, they've given an indicative yield that are nearly, that can beat inflation. I'll put it that way. So it looks like a good deal. And if folks have asked questions, they'll be able to answer, I would say, to the best of their ability, and very honest too. So Muiwa and Oladayo, do you guys want to say anything as we start to wind down? We'll spend around an hour here, we just start to wind down the space. I mean, if you guys want to make any closing comments, how can we contact you? Are you guys online? I know you're on this Twitter page. If you do post something on the handle here, I will share it. But how can we contact you? And do you have any closing thoughts? And if anyone wants to speak again, send me an invite and I can. Tunji, your hand is up. What's up?
Yeah. Before you close the space, I just wanted to say I'm working on a prop tech startup, so I would love to see how I can work with AM Real, see if they are open for that as well.
Sure, go for it. I mean, it's an open space. We have to help ourselves here, right? So the good thing I like.
I see that might need.
Yeah, all right. So, of course, we have our Instagram and Twitter pages. You can always DM us there, and you can always reach out to me personally on my phone number 070-3515-0875. That's my personal phone number. You can always text me or WhatsApp.
Can you say that phone number again, sir?
But most times, I always prefer you text me first, so I'll be able to fix a grill, because there's my of course, we have a lot of engagement and all of that, so it's always very good to text first. Of course, you can also text or call Mayowa at his phone number. His phone number is
081
399-2451. 0816-399-2451. So you can always reach Mayowa by here on WhatsApp or phone call. So basically,
guys, can I get? If you guys, give me a second.
I feel like we've said most of it.
Olabode.
But of course, as we are forward looking, right? And then we are of course we are exploring far more opportunities for growth. We want to grow as a firm too. So of course we have one of our plans is to actually, on the long run, right? In the long run, become a real estate investment trust, because looking at this, we've seen a lot of properties in this state where they just haven't maximizing the value of those properties, and we have sources for financing. I do not think our financing is much of a problem for us in the long run. So, of course, we also have that plan to set up an advisory and research firm, just by the side as one of our subsidiaries, to just go out and do more research in Lagos, go outside and find more of these opportunities that we can take advantage of in the long run. So that's on the table for us. And so of course, if you are an investor, right? If you have a fund that you are managing and you want to deploy, of course, we are open to partnering in that regard. We already have some strategic investors that some financial investors, right? That we are looking at partnering with on some other projects, not just this Crestville. So you can see that for Crestville itself, we are completely funded. We are absolutely funded for this project. We are not using your money to complete the project. We are funded outright for the project, right? So we are basically forward looking on this, and the opportunity in front is immense. It's completely immense. I think it's a no-brainer to buy at Crestville Apartments, to buy whether the one or the one bed, to sublease the 1 or 2 bedroom, right? It's a complete no-brainer, right? It is, because we, as I said, we are looking to see if we can retain one of those apartments on our books. So it is still something that we are deliberating on. So that's all I would love to say.
I want to get Abdul Malik to speak. Abdul Malik is a good friend of mine. Is also into the property side of business in Nigeria. I think let me just maybe once more to say. Malik, you got the floor. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Malik, also introduce yourself, please.
Halfway, but I must say I'm very, very convinced and impressed what you guys are doing. And Kalu, if you remember this discussion we had about 2-3 weeks ago about fractional ownership of property, this is just it. Somebody's just buying a bed space or a room in a short-let apartment or complex, and making his money. You don't have to own the whole thing, have CFO, have all the stress of tenement rates, service charge, all those things. Somebody's taking care of it for you. So this is the way to go in real estate investment, and this is the only way we can build REITs in this country, and then grow the share of real estate as a share of the GDP in the economy, because like you said, somebody's looking at federal government bonds, compared to rental property that they will pay you when they want to pay you. And then at the end of the day, you end up spending the whole money maintaining the house, and all that. This makes absolute sense. So well done, guys. And I'll definitely be reaching out to you. And let's see how we can work together.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's great. So Malik, maybe he didn't introduce himself. He's that's the MD of Malik. Introduce yourself now, I beg. So that people know who you. So
I'm just a regular Arsenal fan.
Don't mind him. Don't mind him. I won't expose him. But
I'm the MD of Modern Shelter Systems and Services Limited, Abuja. We have a lot of real estate in Abuja. We do the whole gamut from affordable housing to luxury housing, and then we're now taking on student housing with something in the region of 800 bed spaces around Biz and Nile, around the same model that you guys are using. We sell bed spaces to investors, manage the property for them, and they get their returns. And then we signed a management agreement with a group in Dubai, Strategic Housing Group, around these things. They're already doing these things in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, and all those things, and we intend to bring it down to Nigeria. But I'm very happy that Nigerians are already doing this, and they're successful at it. So by the grace of God, we will definitely work together with us, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let me get Ben. I've got Ben Diaspora. He wants to speak. Go ahead, Ben.
All right. Mine is good afternoon. Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Ike. I greet Carlo for this place. But my question is, it seems with the short time I'm here, nobody addressed these investors, those people taking out lease spaces. Who are they? Are they employed in Nigeria or they are employed abroad? Are they doing businesses from the home by remote, by the generators and internet connections they have? Are they government people? Because it's important to have a good idea of who are these people letting these spaces, buying these units. It may not cover what you plan for the space for today, but generally when people write, I always look to that side. The reason is that most people we discuss with are people who are already assuming that these clients are available, on the ground, ready to pick up these things. Immediately you set it up. So I'm sorry if it goes outside your...
I'm not sure I get your question, sir. I'm so sorry. Could you...
No, the people buying it up, the clients,
okay.
Everybody's talking from the how do I separate it? Those building up the business.
Gotcha.
I'm now talking about those picking up the services you are offering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those picking it up, your customer base.
So you're asking who is buying? You're talking about the buyers now.
Yeah, those people.
Who are your buyers?
In your topic, yeah, but I didn't hear anybody speaking to them.
I'm just curious. Why do you want to know who the buyers are? I'm just curious.
Not the people building and leasing.
I get you. I get the question. But just out of curiosity, why do you want to know the buyers? Just curiosity.
No, I don't want to know them. I want to know what their group is.
Oh.
Because I always have this economic sense. If somebody says putting money in this thing, the first thing is where will the customers come from?
Gotcha. I hear you.
So
wait, what do you want to?
It's nothing personal about
No,
that.
I hear you, sir. You're right.
It's just that when I have a younger brother running a clinic in Nigeria, and my question is always, why would you set up a clinic without buying that place? And we could not understand why I'm asking it. I have an experience when you are doing well in business, your landlord comes to jack up your rates and you already carry mini payment with you. Yeah. So I always want to know, right, where are these people coming from that you are borrowing this money to put in this business?
Interesting. Well, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to answer that? Who are your customers? And also, can you send me a DM with your phone number? Let me respond to someone on Twitter. But go ahead and answer, please.
All right, I will do that.
No, not you, sir. I'm talking to Muiwa should send me his phone number, but Muiwa is going to try to answer you now. Muiwa, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Let me get off your phone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling, sir. You guys want to take that? Or you want to pass? Do you guys? He wants to know who is the demographic of the folks buying into these leases. Who is the demographic? I think that's what he's trying to figure out.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Also trying to get. Actually, I don't know if you can get your.
I can hear you, but I think he's curious to know the demographics. Who are the kind of investors that buy into this project or stay in your homes? I think that's what he's trying to figure out.
Okay, I didn't get. All right. So let me. Of course, because of this because of privacy and this reason, we would not like to disclose too much information about our investors to on a public forum like this. But it is spread out between, of course, people who can afford to do it, and of course, it is even very open to even let me say people who work virtually anyone who works a 9 to 5 or people who have money to deploy or virtually anyone who can afford to put down 7, 8, 9, 10 million naira a year in just 1 year to buy a property can, and we spread the payments for this. So of course we make it easier to acquire this. The payments are spread. For example, some of those of our investors that bought in whether August or September, we are giving the opportunity to spread that payment in 3 months, right? So of course, if you can afford to put down that 2 million naira today, so that's just the old. But we don't like to give too much information about the kind of people who are buying.
That's understood. That's understood.
Yes, so
appreciate that.
That's more of that's a, let me say, because of contractual all of that. So that's not an information that we will be too willing to put forward. But of course, it is people who can afford to buy it, and virtually most working class people can afford to, because the barrier to entry is significantly lower than buying a property worth putting out, like forking out 60, 70, 80, 100, 150 million naira to buy a house in Lekki or something like that, or whether anywhere in Lagos. So that's so this reduces the barrier to entry for it. So that's just what I would say.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, can you give me your phone number?
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does, sir. Can you give me the phone numbers again? Folks are asking me on DM. Could you take it a bit slower this time? The phone numbers, please. Go ahead.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much.
Can you get the phone numbers, please?
Mr. Kaluse, can
I want to get the phone numbers just to respond. So can you guys give me your phone number again? Oladaya or Muiwa? Can you give me the company phone number just so I can respond to someone real quick? I don't know if they can hear me though. I don't think they can hear me. What's this called? Oluwa, please go ahead, sir. Maybe. Oh, so sorry about that, guys. I was muted, right? Muiwa or Olabode, could you give me your phone number so I could just put it up on the Twitter real quick? So sorry, I was muted. Could you guys take the phone number again a bit slower this time, please? Oluwa, you had a comment. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, yes. I needed to say this, Mr. Kalu. Thank you so much for the privilege. I think the very, very modest, and it needed to be said, just like Mr. Abud Azik did say that, you know what, their business model is top notch, but more than anything, I think because of their modesty, I would also be getting across to them. I am in real estate here in South Africa, and seeing them being this honest and modest, especially in a place like Lagos, it should be commendable and we should support them. I just needed to say that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think that they will appreciate you saying that. Muiwa or Olabode, do come offline and give me your phone number. I've got Fola Olu wanting to speak.
Yeah, I already sent both our numbers to your DM.
Oh, I see it now. All right, Fola.
Yeah, mine first and mine was.
Okay, I've got Fola Oluwahimi. I'm so sorry if I didn't say that correctly, sir, but you got the floor.
Oh, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, thanks, Carlo. Great job you're doing for all the spaces you bring to us each week. Just had a quick question for this gentleman. Real great work, and it's exciting to hear what they're doing. I'm sorry, I may have missed this, but what's at the end of the 15-year lease or whatever? I mean, who owns the property? Is it mine outright at the end of the 15-year time frame? I thought I had something about that. I'm not sure if I mixed up the info, but when I pay for this at the end of a certain number of years, is it mine or does the ownership revert back to you? Thanks again. I'll use my mic.
Good question.
Okay. Maybe because you didn't join at the beginning, but I'll summarize in like 30 seconds. So the reason why the offer is quite affordable, compared to what you would have originally paid to own that quality of apartment in any central or in demand property in Lagos. We didn't pay for that land. We didn't pay for the land. We approached the owners of the land that had buildings that were built about maybe 50 or 100 years old, and they were only generating peanuts from that building. So what we did was we approached them. So we, as developers, don't even own the land ourselves. So we approached them and we can help you build this, but we get to own it for this period without paying you a penny for the usage of that land. At a certain period of time, say within this period of lease, we now give you back this property to use for your personal use. So you're only allowing us to optimize our investment within this period of lease without paying you a penny. We only pay them like signing fee and ground rents because they were collecting certain rents before we started developing. So we pay them what they've been collecting as the rents, maybe double of it, while we build for that period of time. Then our lease then starts to count. Then after that, we then revert it back to the owners of the land. So this time around, this property is not being reverted back to we as developers, but back to the landowners.
I see. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Super. All right, guys. So let us get closing remarks. I think we've had a very, very good session with my sister and myself. I am interested in this. So let me just say you have my attention. I'm happy to do more study, but I think it's a good way for me to get yield out of real estate in Lagos. So this is what I already get, and I think we've had a very, very good session. So guys, let me let the MD CEO come off mute, give us your closing remarks, and then we'll just start to wind down. Thank you. I don't think Muiwa can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. So I'll end by telling a short story, so like 30 seconds. So I was talking to a client that made some payments like 2 days ago, and she said, Mayowa, how are we sure that this money will be channeled to the property? Like that you already said, we're fully funded. But the reason why we're able to, it's like our fourth project in like 500 days. So we're doing like one project per year, and this is like our biggest so far, which we intend to maximize our return. We are really obsessed with client satisfaction. Like we are really obsessed with it, and we feel like that's the only way we can grow as a firm, to ensure that we are providing optimal value to all stakeholders involved. I mean, we as developers, the landowners, and also the investors are partnering with us for that period of peace. So this is what has kept me going personally, and also the team. and would love to do more and even make this even more accessible and more affordable in the nearest future. And we're very happy to be on this session with Carlo. We really appreciate it, and we're happy to end by saying we look forward to doing even more things together as partners and also with your followers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've got Adisad Nigma, last comments. Thank you, sir. Real quick. Adisad Nigma, go ahead, sir. I see your hand up. Yeah.
Okay. It's Adisad Enigma. I'm a broadcast journalist and I'm a content creator. I'm a broadcast executive in Nigeria. So I just joined your space because of your what's it called, pedigree, and somebody that I really trust and listen to. I joined late and I'm going to make it fast. Carlo, I need to speak to you, and I'm asking you just one question. It might be totally offshoot, but economically, I know it's offshoot. Please pardon me, but I need to know who you are voting for, who you are rooting for 2023 that will be beneficial economically to Nigerian citizens. GDP for GDP, corruption-wise, and the economic indices. I just like to know. I know it's a total offshoot of what you're saying, but I think I trust the judgment of an economist, and I've been following you through from Nigeria. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not going to jump out of Nigeria like others want to. This is my place, but I need to know who to vote for economic-wise.
It's a fair question, and I'll answer it, right? So, just to be clear, I am partisan. I am not on the fence. I am partisan. But my page, I want to keep my page a place where people can come to get information. If I endorse anyone now, then from now till elections, it's going to be just if I say anything, people are going to say it's because of this. So I am partisan. I have a candidate, and I want that particular candidate to win. I'm not sitting on the fence. But let me answer it this way to your question. Let me answer it specifically to you. If you have a headache, you can go to the pharmacy and you can buy Panadol and the headache goes away. If you break your arm, you go to the orthopedic hospital, they put a cast and, after a few months, it's healed. If you have a appendectomy, you go get a surgery, non-invasive or whatever. If you have, flu, so whatever ails you determines where you go to. Same way, if you have a company and your problem is organization, you've got great salesmen, but they bring in all these sales, no one follows up, no one is calling to say thank you to the clients. You want to hire a chief operations officer to organize your shop. If you have a business, you've got a great product that anyone that uses that product tells his friends, and you have good sales from word of mouth, but no one knows you. So you hire a chief marketing officer to go out and tell people about this great brand that you have, because the more people see and taste it, the more they like it. So form follows function, right? What you want to solve is because of the problems you have. In 1999, Nigeria had the problem where one part of the country felt that they had been cheated. If you had brought the best governor or the best human being from any part of Nigeria apart from that region, it would not have solved the problem, because the problem then was not economics or insecurity. It was that a part of the country felt that they had been robbed. So you had to address that issue. In 1979, Nigeria was coming off military rule. The military was handing over to the civilian government. At that point, if you had brought the best colonel, the best brigadier, and said this guy went to Harvard, he's from the Chicago School of Business, but he's going to be your head of state, Nigerians also would not have accepted that person, because at that time, the push was for democracy. We wanted to get democratic, so we went for Shagari and equipment. Nigeria's problem today is economic. Everything you see, bandits, corruption, Boko Haram, IPOB, all these things you see, kidnapping, they are all economic. They are the children of a country that has failed to invest for his children's future. That's what you're seeing today. That you cannot take your family after 7 p.m. and drive from Lagos to Abuja. It's impossible. Matter of fact, the thieves see you, they will say you are an irresponsible man to take your own children, put them in a car, to drive from the capital city, Lagos. Let them not even go far. You go from Kaduna to Abuja, and you are kidnapped by the bandits. Will be very mean on you because you are irresponsible. How can you take your family and drive from Kaduna to Abuja? This is the situation we find ourselves. It's all economic. If there were jobs, no one would live in the bush with people. You have got to solve an economic problem for the next 8 years. That's it. You have to create jobs. You have to stop spending. And it's not just to do it. You have to be seen to be doing it, which means the person doing it is even more important than what he's doing. Remember what I said, if you had brought in the best president after the annulment of the MKO elections, Nigerians would not have accepted it because it was not about the best person at that time. It was about the issue of a part of the country feeling they had been cheated. Same thing with Nigeria today. Nigerians across the board now know that they promised the economy. Hence, you've got to address the economy. Every other thing, you are wasting your time. And it's not just who is doing it, but the person must be seen to be doing it. There has to be a change of tone. It's not just to say you are the best. There has to be a certain change in the tone of the country. We have to go from this, I am the big man, I am the chief, to I want to serve. There has to be that change. If you don't get it right now, I assure you Nigeria will become Russia. We're in two roads now. We can go from how Brazil was a banana republic to what Brazil is now today, which is a brick, rising country. Or we can go from where Nigeria is today to become Congo. That's what we can become. So we have an opportunity this time. It's not just to say you want to create jobs, you want to bring in FDI. The tone of the country, the personality of the next president is as important as the jobs that person is going to create. Hence, if you are voting, I say it all the time, be very deliberate. If you vote the wrong person, what you guys see today, you would wish you had it today. What if you vote the wrong person? I'm just telling you, Nigeria is the greatest nation in Africa, and you might say in some parts, if you count maybe 10 nations on earth, you would count Nigeria. We have everything here: gold, oil, people, coastline, water. All we do not have, all we have never had, is a leader that you can look up and say, because of this man, I will go to work and I will not take a bribe. Do you know what it means for a worker not earning enough to say, I will reject a bribe today because I know in 4 years' time, my family will benefit? We've not had that leader before. Every civil servant today wants to go to work and take a bribe because he knows when he leaves work, he has got to feed his family or to build a home. You need a leader that people can look at and be proud that they are Nigerians. That's all I'm going to say. So go vote your conscience. I'm pretty sure if we to election, I'm going to do an endorsement. I'm pretty sure about that. But for now, let me just use the space to do what I'm doing, which is just to talk about finance, money, and the economy. Hope I answered your question. It was long, but I'm so sorry.
Oh, you did. You did. I'm actually just looking at because of the the impact it's going to take on my own business economically. I've looked at the candidates, and it's not even for me about the candidates, but the people that they would employ as ministers, and of course the guy that everybody is routing for. People are picking loopholes in what he's saying, but because I'm not an economist, I'm just a marketing consultant. And yes, we did a little bit of economics in marketing and brands and communications and all of that. And I'm also in communications. I don't know all the semantics that are therein. But
If that guy, if that person wins, then the Nigerian GDP will double just by expectation alone. Just by expectation alone. In economics, central banks track expectation. If you go to you see economic readings, you see the central bank tracking what you call the expectation. If the economy, if the people in an economy believe that the economy will get well, the economy gets well. It's not prayer point, it's not faith. It's an economic theory. Yeah, you can Google it. Guys, Google it. Expectation is tracked by the Fed, is tracked by the Central Bank of Nigeria. What is the consumer expectation tomorrow? If that candidate wins in February, let me tell you what will happen. First of all, dollar will go up by about 120 naira or immediately without anything happening. This same dollar you are seeing at 735 will automatically fall to about 500 without anything happening. Write it down. Without anything happening, to just come down, because it's at 700 because people do not trust tomorrow, so they are investing in today by buying dollar. Once tomorrow is clear, why should they hold dollar? You know what I do with dollar? You don't earn interest on it. So dollar will crash, then foreign direct investments and remittances will go up. You guys will be the one looking for, they'll be chasing you, they're going to rush you to come and work. And I'm giving economic data, I'm not saying faith or let's pray about it. It will happen. So you've got to vote right. It's not, will the other guys bring FDI? Yes. The other guys will bring FDI. The other guys will also bring a fall in Naira. Yes, they will. But remember what I said, Nigeria needs a change in tone. Everybody can build a road. My gate man, if you give him FAC, he will build a road too like any other governor. But my gate man cannot do this change of tone. What we are celebrating today in Yaba, in what Silicon Yaba Valley, our Silicon Valley, what we are celebrating today is because those guys are doing it without the government. Without the government. Nollywood was created without the Nigerian government. The Yaba Tech, Yaba, those guys, all those guys have built what they have built without the government. Imagine if the government now went and supported them. Everything you type on Twitter, what you hear is, it won't work, it's impossible, corruption, everybody is negative. Imagine if you took away that negativity and then someone went and told the guys, look at Ajaokuta, it's just there wasting. Someone goes there and says, I'm going to turn Ajaokuta into an SME village. 30,000 rooms. It's got power, it's got railways. If you are a youth, we'll give you 2 million naira. We'll put high-speed broadband, Starlink internet. Go there, 2 years, don't pay rent, create something. The government will invest 20% in whatever you create. 2 million, do you know what that will do to the economy? You need hope. You need tone. People are leaving Nigeria to go to the US. I have lived in the US. There is no difference. Here, you must pay your bills. Nigerians can say, I beg. In America, you must pay your bills. What are people coming here to do? Because there's no hope in Nigeria. Reverse the hope. There was a time in Nigeria people were leaving America to come back to Nigeria to take jobs. Not far away, a decade ago. Now it's the reverse. All the youths are leaving to come to Canada. Canada is as cold as your fridge. People are coming there. So guys, get it right. 2023 is next year. Get it right. All right, guys. Muyiwa, I'm so sorry I entered your space with with politics, right? So let me just thank AM Realty, Muyiwa, and Oladayo for coming to talk to us about investing in real estate. I do appreciate you guys. I think lots of folks now know what you guys do, and I hope you guys will be available when you get more questions and comments on your DM or Instagram to explain more of what you do. I have learned a lot today. I know others have learned. So I'll leave you guys alone. Let's go enjoy our weekend and let's keep that hope alive. Thank you so much, guys. Love you guys.